It looks like it's 8:30. I call this meeting of Land, Water, and Forest Resources Committee to order, please. And we have the roll call.
Ed Peters,
Here.
Mark Helwig,
Here.
Kay Wilson, here, Brian Bissonette,
Here.
Jason Weaver,
Here.
Kevin Sheptick.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Since we have a quorum, next item of business, Pledge of Allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Certification of compliance with open meetings law.
This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Public comment. Don't see any. Item number 6, consider approval of the minutes from previous meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Been moved and second to approve the minutes from the May 10th meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number. Yes. Mr. Weaver,
Yes, this is Jason.
do you have a question or comment?
No, I didn't hear that that I was online when or on the phone when you did roll call. That's all.
Yes, we have you. Thank you.
Just don't leave that.
Moving on to item number 7, events. There are a series of different events here: the Epic Bike Fest, the Shawamigan 100, the Camba Women's Weekend Clinic, and the Stubborn Mule Adventure Race coming up. Are there any comments on that?
Okay, yeah, we had 4 events coming up for this month. All the events we have the appropriate application and insurance in. The Epic Bike Fest utilizes single track trails only. The Camba Women's Weekend Clinic is a clinic at the Hatchery Park using the trails there. The Stubborn Mule Adventure Race is kind of an unmapped, untimed point to point using a compass type thing, so there's no set trails there. The Shawamigan 100 is probably the first event that we've been asking some of the bike events to try to avoid our ATV, UTV trails. So Jerry Wright is the responsible person for this event. We had some discussions with him and he graciously rerouted several key portions of his event to avoid some of the ATV, UTV trails. So we're trying to reduce some of the conflicts on these popular summer weekends. So it's kind of a direction we're going to be going in the future now. So with that said, I would recommend approval of all 4 events.
Do we have a motion to approve these events as listed?
I'll make a motion to approve the events as listed.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item number 8, Wisconsin surplus auction county land sale. Discussion and possible action.
Sure. Good morning. So Sawyer County conducted a land sale of tax delinquent real estate via a public auction. And that began on Monday, May 8th and concluded just Monday, June 5th. In this worksheet here, it shows the results of the auction in addition to the date that Sawyer County acquired this land, the amount, the tax certificate amount, any fees that were incurred, and then additional costs if we had any demos or site cleanup. So the total expenses are listed there as well. As you can see, there was one parcel in the Northwoods Beach subdivision, parcel number 1, that had a higher than the minimum approved bid. So each of the other parcels that are listed would require approval from the board to be sold. Otherwise, they can be rejected. That is completely at your discretion. So there are a few that are close. There are a few that are very different in the amounts that was basically approved by the board to what the bid came in at. I don't know, have you taken?
This will require then individual action on each one of the parcels.
That is correct. Except for, like I said, for parcel number, because that one had a bid that was higher than the minimum approved amount. So when the auction started, each parcel was available with a starting bid of $100. And this is the first time that Sawyer County has done the Wisconsin surplus auction. So it was, in prior years, it has been done by a sealed bid process. So I don't want to necessarily say it was a trial run, but it based, definitely gives us an indication of maybe where the market is, what the value of the property is. It's a good starting point. I think it's something obviously that we want to continue doing. Now, based on these figures here, though, if we want to reject some of the bids, conversation should include whether or not we want to reduce the minimum prices that were set previously.
Okay. So it looks like we would want to proceed through the table from the beginning. Is that correct?
That'd probably be a good.
Mr. Alvaro?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you didn't mention this, but so these properties have already been up for sale. They were already up for sale once. They've been on the direct sale list. You can see the dates. And the committee had previously set the minimum price. You can't accept a bid below the minimum. Because essentially because it's gone through another auction type process, you can sell below the minimum if you can say that this is market price for the land. And then we did consult with the council that the auction is an indication of what the market price is for the land that somebody's willing to pay for.
Okay, thank you.
And previously, if somebody submitted an application, it had to come to the board for approval. And it was probably a year ago that was changed, that the minimum prices were set. And then they were published on our website, on the Sawyer County website, that if they wanted to come in, they could actually purchase directly over the counter. So these parcels have been out there, like Andy mentioned, and then we decided to take the route of the auction.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious about this, like this, third one down. The minimum is 4,000 and the bid is only 788. Seems awful low, but I mean, I don't know.
Should we just start
Okay.
with parcel number 39? Do I have a motion to approve this sale from parcel number 39?
I'll make a motion.
I believe that's 29. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, 29. Excuse me.
That's okay.
Oh, okay, yep, I see. Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve 29, parcel number 29.
Is there a second?
Mark made a motion.
Or, yes, parcel number 29.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Okay. Yes, would you please state your name and step up to the microphone, please? We're being recorded, so.
Good morning. I'm Dale Magnuson from Winter, Wisconsin. I bid on 2 of the parcels there yesterday on Monday's auction. I buy a lot of stuff on the Wisconsin surplus auction sites, and it represents the fair market value of the property that's being sold. It's a very great system to offer government property to everybody, and everybody gets a chance to bid on it. So it's absolutely a fair market value of what that property is being sold. That's my opinion. I won I bid on 2 properties in the Village of Winter. One next to one of my properties that's been a burned out apartment building from 2016. And the place is an absolute mess. You have a huge liability there with the garbage, nails, boards and nails all over. Kids are smashing the cars, windows there in the vacant cars that are there. It's right next to my motel. I bid on it yesterday. I was a winning bidder. And the lot right next to it sold a couple of years ago for $1,000. Same lot, same size, that was clear with no garbage on it. So you can look in your records there and see that property was sold for $1,000 like 2-3 years ago. And clean piece of property, same piece, same size ground. And I bid on this other lot here. County, I bid $1,607 and I was the winning bidder on it. And I think that's more than fair for that piece of property when the adjoining one sold for $1,000 a couple years ago. That was clean. I got pictures of the property showing your liability, the Surrey County liability. They have not cleaned this property up. It's got from the burned out structure. It's all laying there all over with nails. The kids are playing around on that crap. There's garbage, piles of garbage there. If you award that to me, I promise you I'll have that cleaned up within 30 days. It'll be all in a dumpster and hauled to the landfill, and I'll be paying taxes on that property the day that you sign it over to me. I'll be starting to pay taxes on that property. You've owned that property for 5-6 years now. No taxes.
You know which parcel number that is?
48.
It's there's 2 lots in the Village of Winter. I don't have the paperwork with me on that, but
I believe it's 45.
yep, the 2 that I was awarded or winning bidder. Okay, you should have, yep. And the other lot is in the village. It had an abandoned old house on it that was a mess there. There is one big tree that's leaning over onto the neighbor's property with a big limb hanging out over on the neighbor's. That's a liability too, because that tree needs to be taken down. So both of them properties have liability to the county for negligence on not being cleaned up, not being properly maintained. I will take that liability away from you tomorrow. I know that's what I'm asking for.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So we had a motion for parcel 29. All in favor of this sale, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to parcel number 36.
Make a motion to approve lot number 36.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Sheptick seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve the sale for parcel number 36. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Parcel number 37, lot in the village of Weirgor. Do I have a motion to approve that sale?
I make a motion to approve lot number 37.
Or a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the sale of parcel number
37.
37 as listed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. Parcel number 41, Village of Exland. Do I have a motion to approve that sale?
Here.
Yes.
I was just gonna point out that if you don't want to approve the sale, this is the first one on the list that the minimum bid is significantly lower than, the bid amount is significantly lower than the minimum. And it does not cover the cost that the county has into the property. So if you don't want to approve the sale, then the suggestion is to set a new minimum and it will go back out for sale or advertise with the next sale.
And the next sale potentially could begin the second week in July.
Okay.
How many times has this been up for sale? Do you guys know? It's off the top of your head.
Well, it's been available. So Sawyer County acquired it in 2019.
Mhm.
There's a date on there.
Yeah.
And so it's been up for sale. It went to a sealed bid. I don't have the date on that. But then it did not sell during the sealed bid process. It's been out there ever since. And then it's been out for a direct sale where it could be purchased over the counter at that minimum amount, that $25,300. I think it's probably been a year now. But in that time frame, the dollar amount, the price has not been reduced. So perhaps reducing it would be an option. Putting it on the auction again and then seeing if there's any change.
I would make a motion to disapprove that one. Was it parcel number 41? I mean, due to the fact that county has a lot of money into it.
So it's been moved to not approve the sale of parcel number 41. Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to disapprove the sale of lot or parcel number 41. At this time, all in favor, say aye.
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 Mr.
Oh.
Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to set a new minimum bid at $12,000 for that piece of property.
The motion to set the minimum bid for the parcel number 41 at $12,000. Is there a second?
I'll make a second of that.
It's been moved and seconded to reset the minimum bid for parcel number 41 to $12,000. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. Parcel number 44 in the village of Winter. Is there a motion to approve the minimum bid or the bid amount less than the minimum bid on that particular parcel.
I make a motion for that, lot number 44.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
A second?
Yep.
It's been seconded, moved and seconded to approve the sale of lot number 44 as listed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have two parcels, 45 and 46. Can we do those together? Yeah, since we have no?
I think.
Okay, let's do, do we have a motion to approve the sale for lot number 45?
Make that motion to approve lot number 45.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to sell or to approve the sale of lot number or parcel number 45. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Parcel number 40, the motion is approved. Parcel number 46, also in the Village of Winter. Do I have a motion to approve the
I'll make the motion to approve parcel number 46.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the parcel or the sale of parcel number 46 as listed. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to parcel number 1, we don't need to have a motion on, do we?
No, we do not need one.
Parcel number 4. I have a motion to approve the sale of parcel number 4 to as listed.
I make a motion to approve parcel number 4, Northwoods Beach subdivision.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the sale of parcel number 4 as listed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Parcel number 5. Do I have a motion to approve the sale of parcel number 5 as listed?
I make a motion to approve parcel number 5 in Northwoods Beach subdivision.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the sale of parcel number 5 in Northwoods Beach subdivision. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion is approved. Thank you. I believe that's the end of the list. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 9. The Act 216 tax deed resolution, discussion and possible action.
So just a little background on this resolution. Act 216 was passed in a prior legislative session. It changed the tax deed foreclosure process for counties. We've always had to, when we take a property that's tax delinquent, we have to offer it up into first sale at the market value. The biggest change is that we have to, as a county now, try to identify the property owner, and that if we sell the property within 7 years of the back taxes, any amount over the back tax amount, it's possible for us to carry the property. If we can locate the property owner, we can send the money to them. This resolution worked with a few other counties on. This would be go to the WCA business meeting to get this on the county association legislative agenda. Essentially, we're asking that for us not to have to return the money to the property owner because of the time. It costs us additional time and expense to identify the property owner, shifts the risk of loss into the county. Essentially, we're acting as realtors for the private parties that have let these properties go tax delinquent. And it also puts additional work onto the treasurers to make decisions, because if there are any tenants in common or liens on the property, we would also be responsible to work with those and pay those off if there are any proceeds from the sale of the property. So this resolution, again, we worked on with a couple of counties, and just asking for Act 216 to repeal the changes, and that if there are any funds above the sale price, any funds above the cost of the back taxes and the carrying cost of the property, that counties place those money into a fund to deal with properties we get back that have, cleanup costs or other expenses that are, would be a burden on us to take care of once we take a property.
Okay, we've had this, been able to look over this in the materials for today's meeting. Yes. Oh. Okay. So we need to have a motion to approve this resolution. But we do need to have a correction on the date that we would approve it. That would be June 7th rather than June 9th.
I would make the motion to approve this resolution with the correction of the date to June 7th.
I'll second that.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion of this resolution? Shall we use the electronic voting, please?
Mr. Bissonnette, would you please cast your vote?
Yes.
Mr. Weaver?
I vote yes.
Okay. Kevin,
I vote yes.
would you use your clicker and press the, oh, you don't have one. Okay, we'll vote yes on that one. So I will close the voting. I'll get you assigned to a clicker. And it did pass then 6-0. So your vote will be recorded as cast with a yes vote.
Thank you. Is there anything else for item number 9? We will need to be getting some signatures before you leave today. Thank you. Register of Deeds, moving on to item number 10, Register of Deeds update.
The new report hasn't been presented.
It's in your packet. Any questions? Okay, so we don't need to really do any approval, it's just an accepting of that report. Moving on to land records and county surveyor department report. Any comments on about that?
Kimberly submitted her report. I am to report that Chris Gregory has been working in the town of Winter this month, and that's where he's at today. The land records department's been started up a few different projects this month. We're moving from our current telephone provider at Dispatch over to AT&T. I'm still sorting out all the specific jargon about it, but it will take our GIS data and match it up into their database. I believe that it's going to be more of a statewide connection, so there's certain elements of our data that might need to be worked on throughout the year, but we're always been pretty well set up with our 911 data, so we'll just have to, you know, kind of massage that into the final product. But that'll be something that'll be kind of happening throughout the year, as well as our interactive mapping website. I don't know if this has been brought up before, but this year, our interactive mapping website provider, ADC, out of Eau Claire, has sold off their mapping division to another company. So we were presented a proposal by that other company that was had a similar pricing structure as to what we've been paying. This gives us an opportunity to maybe do something different, but the ADC website has been a good tool for the general public and land professionals. It's the same website being used by a number of different counties in Wisconsin, notably our surrounding counties. So everybody can kind of jump to county and, you know, fill in the same fields and get the same information. So we've, you know, had informal discussion with the other counties, and it seems like most people are going to move to this new company. So we're, you know, in the interest of keeping things similar, whatever that may be, we're going to move to this new company. And so throughout this year, we're going to be going through that process. We started getting some data together to get to them.
Any questions? Thank you. Sawyer County, moving on to item number 12, Sawyer County Forestry Department. Subsection A, recreational trails report.
Mr. Chairman, could we jump to letter D? Brody's got another appointment he has to
Certainly,
get to.
certainly. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I will have a brief DNR forestry report here. As for the month of May, timber sale establishment has been the main focus for us and all working towards county forest hours. And the emphasis has been on northern hardwood management and pine since the aspen acreage goal has been nearly met in the past timber sale bid. Good progress has been being made, but in the woods it is very brushy, so lots of green ups and makes for slow moving around. And within the past few weeks, as everybody knows, it's been very dry and it has extended the fire season. So we are losing a couple people due to fire staffing, and hopefully we can get some rain here pretty shortly. But as I stated earlier, working towards time standards, our goal of 2,217 hours, we are on pace to reach that goal by June 17th. And that is all I have for the forestry report.
Thank you, Gordy. Any questions?
What's your plan to fix this rain situation?
I've been doing every dance I can to get it to rain, killing all the spiders too, so.
Thank you. So going back to recreational trails report. Any,
Is this on? Yes, it is. Kathy LaRue with Sawyer County Snowmobile and ATV Alliance. Summer ATV season is off to a pretty fast start. All the trails are open. We have a reroute through LCO for Trail 777 because LCO is rehabbing that challenging trail. The reroute goes down Highway Double N. So far, it's been working fine. To my knowledge, I've checked with law enforcement. No problems to report there as of yet. Just so everybody knows, between registrations and sold non-resident trail passes, Wisconsin is approaching 500,000 ATVers. We're #1 in the country. And so it's a lot to manage. We're trying to work on the trails and signing. We've had to put brushing on hold until after July 15th due to the oak wilt restrictions. And the hot weather is making it hard for us to get out there. We just can't seem to get some decent weather throughout the year lately. But that's it, unless you have any questions.
Do you have the reroute for 777? I'm sure that's not on any maps yet, is it?
It is on Trail Trekker. We just put that on our app, and we are working on getting our main map, at least the online map version, corrected. The printed maps only come out once a year in the fall, so unfortunately, it's well signed though. So when riders get up there, they're going to see where they need to go, hopefully.
Good
So,
job, thank you.
any questions?
thank you. Under non-motorized, do we have anything? Okay. County forestry report, item B.
Okay, for the month of May, we had 8 sales listed as active. We're having a really good start to our. It could be. Save the day. Oh. We got a pretty good start to our spring, early summer logging season, so our activity level is picking right back up as conditions improve.
Sorry, Greg.
It's all right. But anyway, so sale value on file right now is just over 5 million. Our sale revenue for the month was just under 120,000. So our year to date is 1.34 million. We're well on target for our budget amount for the year. With the winter season and the pickup here in the spring, things are looking really good. Markets seem to be holding well. We usually see a big uptick in activity once we get past oak wilt on July 15th. So that's still coming. So things are looking very good for our timber sale markets and activity levels on the county forest right now. Sale inspections are on target for the level of activity. We did have 1 track turned in, written up and turned in for review. Otherwise, the foresters are working all on field establishment right now. And I gotta give a little bit of props to the foresters right now. They are dealing with the bug issue that we haven't seen in, I don't know how many years. I've been out a few days here and there with them, and I honestly don't know how they're doing it right now. It's even for foresters, this is this is miserable. We had some site visits yesterday on some road projects, and basically we ended up with guys just, you know, like, I'm not getting out of the truck anymore. We'll talk in the office. It was that bad. So just keep them in your thoughts as they're out pounding away out there, donating blood to our county mosquito population. So recon is on target. We are still chipping away at our GNA contract for this year. As I mentioned, Oak Wilt is still underway, the restriction until July 15th. Both mountain bike trails and ATV, UTV trails were opened on Saturday, May 13th. Conditions were conducive to that. We did have 7 trail rehab projects out for bid. Deadline was June 2nd. We did get a number of bids in. Allergies. But I'm still reviewing the bids, and we should get contracts put together for the low bids by the end of the week here. So other than that, I don't have anything else to report.
Thank you. Any questions? Moving on to zoning conservation department report.
Yes, thank you. We had our aquatic invasive species coordinator attend the annual AIS partnership meeting. This is the first time Natalie was able to attend this meeting and was able to meet other regional and state staff in that field. Also included passing her aquatic invasive species verifier test. We are continuing to grow purple loosestrife beetles, which will be used to control the spread of purple loosestrife in high concentrated areas. Also conducting other clean boats and clean waters training. Several other presentations are planned throughout the summer for zoning and conservation topics. This includes zoning presentations to the Round Lake property owners, as well as a conservation presentation to the Spider Lake on the importance of native plants along shorelines. Our annual gravel pit inspections are currently being conducted. They've started a couple weeks ago, and they'll probably go for another few more weeks. These are to inspect and verify compliance with plans of operation, open acreage, reclamation certification, drainage and erosion, and non-permissible materials within our pits located throughout Sawyer County. I do have additional update for the Billy Boy water level updates. There may be some new members on this committee that haven't heard about this, but this is probably going on now for the better half of 3 years. So Billy Boy controls Lac-Courte, Little Lac-Courte, Grindstone, and in turn Whitefish. 4 years ago, it was basically brought to my attention that the previous administration may have been keeping those water levels higher than they needed to be set according to the official Public Service Commission order that was set in 1955. When we further investigated this information, we set a new gauge at the Thoroughfare Bridge as recommended by the DNR, which ended up dropping the water levels across the entire system roughly 12 inches. We've been working with the DNR and various lake association groups to see if there's any wiggle room within this order because the 12-inch drop that those property owners had been accustomed to has not been received very well. Whitefish Lake Property Owners Association has filed an official petition to change the ordered water level with the DNR. This was then tasked back to the county to see if there was flood and flowage easements in place. So when we initially created the dam, and the dam was actually back in the 1930s, when the dam was initially set, the county had to obtain easements to flood people's land up to a certain elevation. Over time, those properties and larger tracts of land were split, subdivided, further split again. So we have some flood and flowage easements in place, but not all the flood and flowage easements that touch all bodies of water or all land around the Lac-Courte, Little Lac-Courte, and Grindstone. You're talking well over 1,000 properties. That is a huge undertaking to try to obtain all those flood and flowage easements now to say, we want to flood your land another few more inches, which may be another 6 inches a foot horizontally up on the landscape. But to go through that process is a very large undertaking. It would take several years, private counsel or private, hired individual to go out and try to obtain those easements. And if we ended up not getting them from certain individuals, then we can't flood and flow their land. So we've been, looking at some additional wiggle room with DNR on the actual order itself. To see if there's a kind of a meet in the middle approach. This would come in the form of a gauge relocation. The official gauge was to be at a George Hess Resort, which is on the main body of LCO. That resort is no longer available. DNR recommended that we do the gauge now in the Thoroughfare Bridge, which separates Big Le Coudray from Little Le Coudray. Our recommendation back to the DNR is that we relocate the gauge again to the County Highway E Bridge, which is the downstream side of Little Le Coudray. Coudray flows into Big Le Coudray, flows into Little Le Coudray. Little Le Coudray then forms and flows into the Billy Boy flowage. With a potential gauge relocation, we're looking at somewhere of a meet in the middle approach, that you wouldn't have a 12-inch drop of water. You'd have more of about a 6-inch drop of water of what people have been accustomed to. This seems to be a great meet in the middle approach, and we're still waiting back to hear from DNR's legal counsel as to whether or not we can make this amendment to the order. But I'm hesitant that DNR is going to allow something like this, because we tried it a year and a half ago and it was kind of turned down, at least from the initial dam safety engineer at the DNR. I have heard from 2 different lake associations that if water levels are kept to the 55 order, that they will most likely follow suit. How that suit would be structured, who it would be against, I don't know, but that is some informational updates to this committee, that there may be some pending litigation to all this.
So that will those changes need to be acted on then by the committee and then by probably the county board?
At this point, we've already spoken with county administrator and myself, as well as the various lake association groups, to submit the request to the DNR for not an official water level change, but an amendment to the order as to where the gauge reading is to be taken from. Waiting to hear back from DNR on that, because again, it seems to be the meet in the middle approach, where those that are, claiming that the high water is causing additional erosion versus those that are saying the water is too low and now I can't get from little LCO to big LCO, and or that I already have a 150-foot dock and my boat is still stuck on the dock because it's only 2 feet deep, even 150 feet out. So I mean, there's people on both sides of this argument, and this idea that myself and some individuals from Coudray Lake Association, as well as county administrator, as well as legal counsel, our legal counsel has had this. Here is an extended of an olive branch as a meet in the middle approach where all parties are happy. DNR, please allow this, and it's really in their court whether or not they're going to allow it. Again, hesitant that they're going to do that because they're going to look at the black and white. Although there is some wiggle room in that order. The wiggle room states that Grindstone, Le Coudray, and Little Le Coudray are all to be kept at the same lake elevation. And that is never going to be physically possible because Grindstone dumps into Le Coudray, Le Coudray then dumps into Little Le Coudray. So it only makes sense that our control point would be at the end of Little Le Coudray to have more equalized flow across the system. But right now, our gauge is somewhere right in the middle. We gave them an olive branch and we'll see if they take it, but we'll keep you updated as to what's happening in that front.
Thank you. I noticed, or I was indicated that we need to move back to item 12C, the Town of Round Lake handicap access and boat landing. Is there any material on that? Nothing. Okay. Okay, thank you. Is that? I do recall discussing that, but I don't believe we took any action on it last time. And we haven't received any additional information, we just move it ahead to next month's meeting. Thank you. Let's see, I think we're up to the USDA report.
There's not much going on right now at USDA. The farmers are about 99% done planting. Now they're moving into the making hay stage right now. There's just a couple of dates here for the offices, like June 19th will be closed for Juneteenth. Then 4th of July will be closed. And then all the acreage reporting deadline is July 15th. At our last county meeting we had, the state sent down to us that we have to change our LAA boundaries. They want more to even out the numbers. Well, in Sawyer County here with the reservation and national, I'm not parks, but the national forestry line up here. There's a lot of land up here, but there's no people for us to represent the number of people. So we changed the boundary lines when we were there. And like for me now, my LA5 will be, I will represent Lenroot, Hayward, Spider Lake, Round Lake, Bass Lake, Sand Lake, Cooteray, Radisson, Edgewater, Meteor, and Weirgore. And then Scott Passon will represent LLA4, which would represent Hunter, Ojibwa, Winter, Draper, Meadowbrook, Cedar Rapids, South Fork, True, and Richland, and Hopkins. He picked up 5 townships in Russ County to help out, even up the numbers, because Russ County's got more available land and more number of people than we do in Sawyer County here. So we sent that to state. Now we're just waiting to see if we get it approved. So that's.
Could you tell me what LAA represents?
It's hang on. It's local administration areas that we represent for our townships.
So will that require 2 separate reports then?
No, I report to this county. Scott
Okay.
does not. So
Okay,
I represent the whole Sawyer County, basically. At the
Thank you.
committee.
Any questions? Moving on to the LCO report.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members. The thing I'd like to report is that we actually received notice last week that we were awarded a grant that we had applied for through the Bureau of Indian Affairs. The project name is Chippewa Flowage Erosion Milfoil Point Intercept Survey. The project, what we're looking at, and this is part of the Chippewa Flowage Partners Group, which consists of LCO Conservation Department, U.S. Forest Service, the DNR, Chippewa Flowage Resort Owners Association, and Xcel Energy. But the project is basically, our goals in this grant award that we have is to complete a lake-wide presence and absence of erosion milfoil. It's a survey consisting of 560 points. It's to educate and train all representatives of the Chippewa Flowage Partners Group, provide science-based data to dam operators annually to determine appropriate drawdown recommendations, initiate long-term erosion milfoil, subset survey protocols and database utilized annually by the group, and is to use the data collected in public outreach efforts. So we're happy about that because obviously aquatic invasive species are of concern on all of our area lakes. And so by partnering up with this, we were able to get the money. And so it's good news for our efforts in mitigating the spread of it. So.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Moving on to item number 14, future agenda items.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
just, can we revisit the Round Lake?
yes.
So just, I think, I'm not sure how it ended up on the agenda, but just looking back. So the town of Round Lake has an agreement already with the county to maintain the boat landing. So they are gonna be rebuilding that boat landing. So we really don't need to take any action. They already received the permit from the DNR and it's been through the review by and we did have to sign off on the review of the Army Corps of Engineers. So at this point, I don't believe there's any approval that's needed. I think they're all set to go because we already have an existing agreement with them.
Thank you, thank you. So any agenda items anybody has besides the standard reports? Okay, we are adjourned.